What's going on, guys, and welcome back to F1 23 for My Team Career Mode Season 1, Round number 3, the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. It's our first sprint weekend, so that is something to look forward to here. Now, first of all, I actually remembered to change my emblem this time, got rid of the kind of white background, and also changed the kind of style of the logo. It makes it look a little bit better, so it's just an aesthetic thing, really. We have enough room here with activities to do every single activity. I was a bit against doing these ones that, you know, put the morale down of the departments, but I ended up going for it anyway because we do get some more resource points. Chassis gets actually a little bit of a boost there anyway with that other activity, and also the fact, which we'll address in a minute, that I seem to be really upgrading very quickly with my resource points. So I currently have everything set to default, kind of, you know, like the career settings of, you know, AI and player cash boost and resource points boost. As we have a look at here, if you remember, in Australia we had a mechanical failure. It was actually the MGU-H, so we're going to have to put a brand new one of those on the car. We then get asked about who our rival should be between Lewis Hamilton and Esteban Ocon. I'm going to go with Ocon because I think we're still a little bit too far off Mercedes. Now here we go. So I've decided to put the resource rate for the player to reduced and the resource rate for the AI to increased because, yeah, we seem to be getting resource points faster than I remember ever getting in the previous games, and we're really boosting forward. And as we can see here, going into this round this time around, we've actually now overtaken Aston Martin, so we're now on paper the 4th quickest car. And, you know, as much as I really want to be fighting for the title soon, I don't really expect to be doing it this season, and at the way we're going, we're going to be up there with Red Bull by the halfway point. So that's why I've changed the kind of settings from default to reduced for us for resource points and increased for the AI. I've kept everything else the same because I feel like, at least at the moment, money and stuff like that is fine, and, you know, the XP and all that sort of stuff doesn't really make that much of a difference. So it's more the resource points and the money, and it seems to be the resource points that, to me, I just seem to be getting too many, or that, I don't know. We're also having quite a lot of luck at the moment with not really having many things fail when parts are going on the car, so that could also be part of it. But yeah, this is my Q1 lap here. Stroll really gets in my way on my quick lap here. We actually didn't have a great first sector. I mean, well, we're way up actually on our first sector time, and that's one thing I've noticed with this game. Even if you get a bit of wheel spin out of a corner, you actually seem to go quicker. It's a little bit strange with how this works. We actually end up going P3, even with that, you know, that turn 2 issue, with Stroll getting in the way. P3 in Q1, which is kind of crazy. Iwasa just doesn't make it into Q2. It's P17 for him, so that's unfortunate. The big surprise here, though, Lance Stroll doesn't make it through to Q2, and neither of the two Alpines make it through to Q2 either, so don't know what's happened with Stroll and the Alpines there, but especially Stroll should be making it through really to Q3, and he's not even done that once this season so far. The Alpines should at least be in Q2, but both of them knocked out, so that's not good for them. As we now have Q2 here, and yeah, a little bit more composed this lap around. We have to be really careful of the curbs on this track, especially around that corner we just went through, because if you hit that curb wrong, you will go into the wall. Now this final sector here seems to be a place where I am quite a lot quicker than the AI. I can pretty much go flat, a little bit of a lift through that corner there, but it's almost flat for me through that section. And looking at my sector times, I'm really quick through this final sector compared to the AI. I'm pretty much the quickest. I don't think I end up being quickest on this particular lap. I actually had a purple middle sector. It's P3 again for us, so I'm a little bit confused here as to why we have so much pace. I mean, yes, we're 4th quickest car on paper now, but P3 is pretty crazy. I don't think there's really any surprises about anyone going out in Q2 there, kind of the ones you'd expect. Both McLarens, though, are through to Q3. Norris and Piastri both in Q3. So that is very good from those two, and McLaren trying to work their way up the order. And on to Q3 here. Once again, a little bit of wheel spin out of turn 2, but doesn't really seem to affect our lap time. If anything, it actually makes our lap time a little bit better, which is maybe a bit of a bug that needs fixing. You know, you can get wheel spin, and I've noticed it with the race starts as well. You can get wheel spin, and you still somehow get great traction and are quicker than the AI. One thing I've noticed in previous F1 games that I've had is that my race starts have been pretty poor most of the time. Whereas on this game so far, I've actually been having really good race starts. I think it is also the fact that they've kind of added an element of AI drivers having not very good starts, having bad starts in this game, which wasn't as much of a thing in previous F1 games, at least not to the extent that it seems to be in this game. But yeah, it's just something I've noticed in this game, so maybe a few things do need tweaking in that regard, but I mean, it is still only the first week of the game, well, the first week of the game being out for Championship Edition, you know, users. The game itself only came out on the 16th. I've of course had it since the 13th because of that Championship Edition, but yeah, it's still early days, things still to be fixed, but on the most part, I am enjoying this game more than I enjoyed F1 22 on the whole, for the most part. Just nicer to drive the car and everything. So this lap was decent. It wasn't a perfect lap by any means, as we absolutely buzzed the limiter down the main straight here, and we crossed the line, and it is a decent lap time for us. It is P7, so it's more where I expected. You know, that P3 that I was getting in Q1 and Q2 was very out of the ordinary. Still a decent lap here, but it's P7. That is about where I expect to be, ahead of Alonso and the two McLarens. Yeah, I reckon we can do something from here, but it is of course a sprint weekend. Charles Leclerc's put it on pole position for the sprint, and this is kind of the old sprint format, not the new one for 2023, so let's see what can happen.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Russell, Perez, Hamilton, Sainz, Davies, Fernando Alonso, Norris, Oscar Piastri, Joe, Tsunoda, Hulkenberg, Bottas, Albon, Magnussen, Iwasa, Ocon, Stroll, Sargent, Gasly, Sargent. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We'll soon find out.
Alright, so here we go for the first ever sprint race in F1 23, the Azerbaijan GP sprint. It's lights out and away we go, and it is a very good start for us alongside, I'm not sure who that was on the left, but it's been a good start, and we're actually attacking Hamilton, and we're past Hamilton through the first corner, so it's been a really good start for us. Like I said, starts on this game just seem to be a lot better for the player, as we then go very close to Perez through turn 2, and I have to back out of it, and that's going to let Hamilton come back at us here, side by side, down this next straight. Can that Mercedes get ahead of us? He's in a quicker car, but the gap on R&D isn't quite as much as it was before, but he does still just about have the pace. I'm going to try and still keep my car there on the inside. He stays side by side with us. Great little bit of racing through the first part of this this sector of this race, this sprint race. We do manage to just about stay ahead of Hamilton, but I do expect, especially with that bit of oversteer there, that Hamilton will get back past us. He actually has a little bit of a look as we head down into the castle section here. This is a very tight part of the track, but I love it when you get it correct through here. Not the best through there, I could definitely go quicker, but it was good enough that I didn't hit the wall. But you can already see the gap that we have already made to Perez and the cars up ahead. So battling with Hamilton and just generally not having the pace of those top guys, we are dropping back a little bit. It is already, I think that's like 3.5 seconds already that the cars ahead have got over us. So I think it's fair to say that Hamilton will be getting past us fairly soon in this sprint race, but we could perhaps stay ahead of a few cars. I think it was Carlos Sainz, the car, I think, that had a terrible start, because he is behind Hamilton. I think he might even be behind Alonso back there. So Sainz was the driver to not have a good start in this sprint race. Yeah, he's behind Alonso as well. So not a good start for Sainz. A great start for us though. We're in P5 here, but like I said, I do expect Hamilton to get past. At the front of the road, and Charles Leclerc leads from pole position. He's great here in real life. He of course got pole position here in F1 in 2023, in this 2023 season. He got pole position. He couldn't win the race, but or the sprint. Did he win the sprint? No, he didn't win the sprint. I think Perez won them both, didn't he, in real life? Yeah, Ferrari didn't quite have the pace in real life, but in this game, maybe he will. He's currently still leading the sprint at the moment with a decent margin to Verstappen behind. As now we have a battle between, that is Sergio Perez, who has actually got George Russell, the car ahead of him, and he's just about managed to get past George Russell down the main straight there, up into P3 for Sergio Perez with his teammates in P2. A battle further down the order now as we have Alexander Albon going for a move on Zhou Guan Yu. Hasn't quite got that move done just yet. He's around the outside and he's just about managed to get the position as they head into turn 2. Zhou Guan Yu though is still there, but he looks like he's actually losing quite a bit of pace because now he's got one of the Alpha Tauris of Yuki Tsunoda behind him, and Tsunoda is going to have a look to the inside as they head into turn 3 here. Goes up the inside, still side by side with Zhou Guan Yu. He's going to fight this one, but in the end can't quite do anything. And, oh no, sorry, Tsunoda can't quite do anything because Zhou manages to just about stay ahead. Lap number 5, and we're still losing considerable time to the cars ahead, and a little bit of a slide around that corner there means that we're going to be vulnerable coming down this main straight now. We've got a decent amount of ERS to deploy as we actually slightly tap the wall on the left. You would have just heard that, and that's going to slow us down as well, and Hamilton is going to now be right on our tail as we head down the front straight. He's going to the inside. I'm not going to fight this too much here though, because like I said, I don't really expect to be beating Hamilton, and sure enough he gets past, but I think we can keep Alonso behind, and if Sainz stays behind Alonso, we can probably keep him behind as well. As now George Russell is trying now to fight back at Sergio Perez for that P3 position. Perez stays on the inside there, makes Russell go round the outside, but Russell's going to try it anyway, and he gets a good launch off turn 1, but they're still going to be side by side as they head into turn 2. Great little battle here, bit of contact I think, and a bit of a slide from Sergio Perez, and it's going to mean that Russell does get back up into that P3 position, so that's looking very good for the Mercedes driver. We continue on here on the final lap. Lost a bit of time to Hamilton out of DRS zone, but as we go through the castle sector, we run into the wall on the left, then we tag the wall on the right. We've now got a bit of front wing damage. That's going to let Alonso pass. We're going to be side by side with Sainz though, but when we come to this long left hand corner, we just do not have the grip. Smack into the wall again on the right. Sainz actually has a little bit of a moment through the next corner. We just have to let him go, and the plan now here is to just stay ahead of the two McLarens who are right behind us, or at least one of the McLarens. I think Norris is right behind us. Piastri's a bit further back, and it's going to be really close towards the end here. Norris is right behind us, but Sainz is also right there with Alonso, and he's going to just overtake him on the line, I think, to take that position. Norris is going to just finish behind us, but yeah, really close there. It's P8 for us. Could have been P6, but we just made a slight little mistake through the castle section. And that's going to mean we still do pick up 1 point for the sprint race though, and we're going to start P8 on the grid tomorrow. And yeah, like I said, Sainz just managed to get Alonso on the line, so he will start P6 for the race. Alonso P7. Charles Leclerc went on to win the sprint race, but now he's going to be on pole position for the main race. He's going to want to convert this sprint race win and the qualifying pole position into the main race win. Iwasa finishes in P19, so not great for him, but let's see what the main race has to offer.
And a warm welcome to you from Azadlik Square, heart of Baku, and home, of course, to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. With high speeds, tight corners, and few runoff zones, many are expecting a safety car here today. So our drivers will have to stay very much on their toes, and hopefully out of the barriers. The Baku city circuit measures roughly 6 kilometers, and it's made up of 20 corners and 2 DRS zones. The circuit winds around the narrow city, through the old town, and even brushes against the city's medieval walls. However, as beautiful as the setting is, this track is also a ferocious technical challenge, where the smallest of mistakes could lead to a catastrophic consequence for any one of our drivers. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Russell, Hamilton, Sainz, Fernando Alonso, Davies, Norris, Oscar Piastri, Albon, Tsunoda, Hulkenberg, Zhou, Bottas, Magnussen, Stroll, Ocon, Iwasa, Gasly, Sargent, Gasly, That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the run down into turn one, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
Alright, so here we go for the main race, the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, starting from P8 on the grid. 5 lights are out and away we go. We're on the soft tyres for this one because my team thinks a soft to hard strategy could work in this race. We've got Carlos Sainz starting on the hard tyres ahead of us. We bang tyres with Alonso as we get caught out with Sainz, not having a great start because of those hard compound tyres. We managed to this time actually feed it through turn 2 instead of going wide and having to avoid a car ahead, but we are now behind Fernando Alonso, who is also on those soft tyres. Norris behind us, he is on the hard tyres, and then behind him is Alexander Albon in P10 in the Williams on medium tyres. So we've got a whole different range of tyres, and that's one thing I've noticed in this game. Strategy seems to be drivers do completely different strategies in this game. We've seen in previous games that usually pretty much everybody does the same strategy, although sometimes like in F122 for example, seems to be a lot of people doing like a medium to hard one stop, and then occasionally you'd get someone, and it seems to be always McLaren in F122 in the last couple of seasons, they do a soft to medium. In this game, and we've already noticed it in the first 2 races, you have teams starting on all 3 different compounds, drivers doing completely different things. Some of them will do a 1-stop, some of them will do a 2-stop. There's a lot of different strategies going on, which I think is really exciting and really changes things up. So that is definitely a good thing about this game. We've managed to somewhat stick with the cars ahead. Sainz, though, is losing a bit of pace, and he's got Alonso right up his rear there because he's on the hard tyres. He doesn't quite have the grip of us soft tyre runners, and we have a decent safety net from Norris behind because he's also on those hard compound tyres, so we don't really have to worry about him overtaking us just yet, as Alonso is going for a move on Sainz into turn 1 here, but he doesn't quite have the speed in that Aston Martin. The Ferrari is pretty much the fastest car. I think we might actually be the fastest with like powertrain. Our car is the fastest. Ferrari's like second. Aston Martin do not seem to have a particularly quick car here. However, on lap number 2, he's going to go for it once again, tucking up right behind Sainz, making Sainz go super defensive into turn 1. This time Alonso will be alongside Sainz as they head through turn 1, and he'll get a good slingshot off that corner through now turn 2. Sainz, though, still on the inside, a little bit of a sideways moment, and that lets Alonso pass, and it's actually going to let us also breeze past Carlos Sainz. And we're going to actually have a look on Alonso here because we have DRS. He doesn't. Dive on the inside of the Spaniard, and it is a great little move. Squeeze him out, don't give him a whole lot of room on the exit there, but still fair racing, and we're going to make 2 positions in 1 corner or on 1 straight, so that's very good for us. Now Carlos Sainz is actually fighting back on Fernando Alonso as they make a little bit of contact through turn 1 here. Those soft tyres are starting maybe to wear out a little bit. Not going to last a whole lot of time here in this race, but at the moment, Sainz not quite able to get the move done, as now he's actually under fire from Lando Norris, the other hard tyre runner, doing a very good job here. He gets past Sainz, and he's actually going for a move on Alonso as well. Norris here is on a charge, trying to get past Alonso, doesn't quite get that move stuck, but he does get himself past Sainz, so that's very good from the British McLaren driver. Sergio Perez towards the front of the grid is now looking at Charles Leclerc because Leclerc has actually lost his first place to Verstappen. Verstappen leads now. Leclerc in second, but Perez is trying to make it a Red Bull 1-2. All these guys here, I believe, are on the soft compound tyres. Verstappen's on the softs, Perez on the softs, I think Leclerc is also on the softs, but the Red Bull pace just seems to be too much, and Leclerc is now down from pole position to 3rd place. Now, as the Red Bulls come into the pits, Verstappen's the first one to come in, but he has come out in a massive train of cars, and Lance Stroll has actually gone for a pretty sneaky move into turn 2 there, as Verstappen came to join the track, but Verstappen will just about stay ahead. He's onto the medium tyres, so is he going to try and go to the end on mediums? It's going to be quite a long stint if he's going to try and do that. Perez does not quite come out in as much traffic, and he has come out ahead of his teammate, so Verstappen's been jumped by his teammate, as now Verstappen sees Perez up the road and is trying to make now quick work of one of the Hasses. I believe that is Nico Hülkenberg in the Haas. Verstappen trying to make quick work of him to only have one car between him and his teammate for the race lead. But Perez now effectively leads the race. We're going to come in on lap number 10. We've got Norris right up our arse at this point in time. He's going to go flying past because he's on the hard tyres. He'll be going quite a bit longer into this race, so we'll come in for our set of hard tyres, which are hopefully going to take us to the end of the race here. A bit of a longer stint on the softs to do this strategy, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Sainz up ahead. He's also coming to the pits off the hard tyres onto mediums. I don't know why he's come in so early off those hard tyres. Must not have liked them because I don't think he's going to get to the end on mediums. And yeah, he's probably going to have to come in for another pit stop for Carlos Sainz. Is now trying to heat the tyres up. Alonso came in at the same time as us. He looks like he's doing the same strategy onto a set of hard tyres too, and down the main straight he's going to try and go for a move into turn 1 round the outside for Fernando Alonso. We're going to try and keep ahead though, and we're just about going to manage to do that as we head into turn 2 ahead of Fernando Alonso, trying to get our tyres up to temperature. Logan Sargent's now going to be the car ahead. He started by looks of it on the mediums and hasn't pitted yet, so we're going to make fairly quick work of him. Like I said, we've got a very quick car in a straight line. That Williams is also quick, but we are a little bit quicker, and we just have better pace, fresher tyres of course, and yeah, pretty easy overtake there on Sargent. As now up ahead of us, we've got a battle between Sainz and I think that's Oscar Piastri, who also hasn't come into the pits yet off the hard tyres. He's not had as good of a start as his teammate because, you know, these two are side by side on the grid, but Piastri's really fallen back here. And he hasn't come into the pits yet on those hard compound tyres, so we're going to breeze past him. But his teammate Lando Norris, he's way up the road, I think also still on the hard compound tyres, but yeah, Piastri, I think he dropped about 5 positions from the start, so not a good start for that McLaren driver, but a good start for the other one. As now there is a battle between, well, it's Verstappen and Hamilton, because Verstappen seems to have lost a lot of pace here. I don't know what's going on. Maybe he has an issue, and then he's pulling over to the side. Yellow flags are waved. There's no smoke coming out of the back of his car, but it looks like Verstappen has a mechanical issue. Hamilton goes past him up into net P3, and that is Verstappen, the current championship leader, the winner of the first 2 races, is out of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. There's confirmation at the top of the screen. Verstappen's out. This is big because he's leading the championship after winning the first 2 races. So that could, I mean, it's only round 3. It's early in this championship of 16 races, but yeah, that is not good for Verstappen. A bit further back, and we have a battle, what could be the battle for the last points position here now, with Verstappen out of the race, between Tsunoda and Alexander Albon. You've also got one of the Alpines behind there. I think of Esteban Ocon. The Alpines had a terrible qualifying and not having a great race here either. Maybe can score 1 point with Ocon here, but at the moment Tsunoda's just about managed to hang on to that position, but is going defensive because Albon, once again with that great straight line speed and DRS, is going to try and shove his nose up the inside of Tsunoda, but won't have any luck there. He'll have to try and go for another move later on, but with Ocon right behind them as well, in a what is generally a more quicker car, it could be difficult, as now my teammate Ayumu Iwasa, his engine has gone up in smoke and he is out of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. We had the mechanical failure last time out in Australia, right at the end of the race. It's pretty close to the end for Iwasa as well. Not quite as close as it was for us. We only had 2 laps to go. He's got still another 6, but Iwasa is out. He wasn't in the points anyway and wasn't having a great race. As now we are defending from Lando Norris behind. He is absolutely flying. I'm not sure. I think he's on medium tyres. He started on hards, went quite long on those hards, has gone to a set of mediums, and I think he may be going to the end here. I'm not 100% sure. There's so many different strategies going on, but he's quicker on those medium compound tyres, and we don't fight it too much because, well, at the point in time, I was actually like, well, I reckon he's going to pit again, but as I went on, I thought, actually, he probably isn't. But then Russell goes past us. I don't mind letting him pass because he's quicker than us anyway. He's on the hard tyres. They're a bit fresher than ours. And yeah, there's not really much we can do about fighting with him. And then Norris is going to see the brunt of Russell as well, because even on hard tyres and with Norris on the mediums, that Mercedes is just quite a lot quicker than the McLaren, and Russell gets past Norris. Norris doesn't really fight it too much. We, though, are really losing quite a lot of pace to Norris here. He's a couple of seconds up the road, and we actually now have Carlos Sainz, the car behind us. He goes up the inside. We're running out of ERS and can't really fight that, and he's on soft tyres as well. So he's done a two-stop, Carlos Sainz. Started on the hards. Don't know why he came in so early off the mediums, but he has, and then he's gone into a set of softs, but he has managed to get past us, and we're not going to be able to fight that back. At the front, though, and Charles Leclerc is still leading the way on this final lap here with Verstappen out of the race. Leclerc does regain the lead because Perez also came in for a second pit stop. He's in second place, just behind Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton is currently sitting in second place right now with Perez third. So yeah, it's looking good, but it's definitely looking good for Charles Leclerc, who is going to come through to win the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. And on the line, Perez just gets Hamilton on the line. That was a ridiculously close finish, but it's going to be Leclerc first. Perez snatches second place from Hamilton, who finishes in third. We're going to come home for another P7 finish. It was P7 in Bahrain. It was probably going to be about P7 in Australia before our retirement. It's P7 here in the main race for Azerbaijan. Decent points here. It was a decent race.
That's a fantastic performance from Ferrari. It hardly looked in doubt. Well, Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today, but what set them apart from the rest?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy, and to stay out of trouble.
And here we are, a team that is no stranger to the podium, taking their place on top once again. A sublime race today, and a stunning win for Ferrari.
So yes, Charles Leclerc dominates in Azerbaijan with Max Verstappen's mechanical failure, But to be honest, I think Leclerc could have done it anyway. He had great pace. Yes, Hamilton and Perez were right there at the end, and maybe if Perez didn't have to go on to a two-stop, he probably would have won that race. But give it a lap or two more, and he probably would have got past Leclerc as well. But yeah, for whatever reason, Perez had to do a two-stop, whereas the Leclerc only did a one-stop from softs, I think, to hards, and Hamilton did a one-stop, I believe, from hards to mediums or mediums to hards. I think it was mediums to hards for Hamilton. So so many different strategies going on in this race, which is awesome to see. Albon picks up P10 in the Williams, so he scores his first point of the season and the first point for Williams as well. So he beats Tsunoda to that final points playing position. And in the Drivers' Championship, well, with Max Verstappen's DNF and some good consistency and now a race win for Leclerc, Leclerc now leads the championship by 7 points to Verstappen in second and George Russell third, with Perez in fourth there. So yeah, that's looking good for Leclerc at the moment, but I think Verstappen will fight back. I think we're in about P8. Awasa is down in the final kind of points paying position. And then in the Constructors, Red Bull still at the top with Ferrari second, Mercedes third, Aston Martin fourth. We are now fifth with McLaren only 2 points behind us in sixth, thanks to a great performance from Norris, who, by the way, finished P5 in that race in the McLaren. What a result for McLaren. Great strategy, great racing. Then it's Alpine and Williams with 1 point in 8th place. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.